Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So just diving right into it, what I'm going to be doing today is the full-on review of the WeTech G35 pistol. This is the full auto edition from comparing to the G34. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about everything that I can in this in-depth review. Please keep in mind the length of this video is how it is because I just want to make sure I cover every aspect of the pistol, from basic power, the box, everything else you can really include in a review. I want to make sure I really touch on every bit of it. So, I appreciate you guys checking it out and being patient and watching everything. But, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into this. So, as you guys can see, here I have the G35 Full Auto Edition pistol by WeTech. So, it's really cool. As you can tell, this is the more extended barrel pistol, so it's definitely, more unique compared to the other ones that I've reviewed, and this is my first pistol of this kind of design. So I want to go ahead and share with you guys what the box is going to look like when you decide to purchase one of these. So again, it is going to be the traditional G series pistol box. Like, they all look like this, except you'll have 35 on there as well. That's really the only difference. The sides are really no different. There's nothing really to it. Being that I'm a US customer, they actually did have this flipped inside out to avoid custom seizure, so that's something you'll notice when you get this. And then of course here's the manual. It has the auto on there because this is the full auto version as well as semi-auto. So I'm not really going to go into this because it's going to be just basic instructions, blow-up diagram of the gun, safety instructions and so on. So most of us are already quite familiar with how to handle all that, so I figure it's not really necessary. But here's what we're really looking at is the pistol. So what I'd like to share is it's considerably longer, not by a lot, but it's definitely different. So here I have a Glock 17 that I'd like to compare this to. So here it is, pretty much mag to mag. So you can tell that there's probably a good, I'm gonna call that an inch or so of length more on the G35 as opposed to the G17. So definitely something you'll notice. But other than that, you can tell that the lower frame of the gun is exactly the same. So you can actually reuse the G35 or G34 frame, and you can mount, a regular G17/18C slide on it without any problems. So I thought that was interesting. So that's something, unique already with this pistol. And as you can closely see that the lower frame, it is a Gen 3 style frame, just like this one. You can see that the stippling is a little bit different from the Gen 4. The mag release is a little bit smaller, so both of these I have here are Gen 3s. So that's something, that's pretty nice. I'm definitely a fan of the Gen 3. And then if we go to the other side, I think this one, yeah, marking wise only has the badge on there, and then on the other side it'll have gas blowback system, and then made in Taiwan. And then of course on the slide as well, on this side you're gonna have the T586 stamp on the outer barrel and on the slide, and then you have the little logo there as well. If we flip it to the other side, you'll have your traditional WeTech G. So there is no LOCK on there, again, because of the sensitivity of using a Glock trademark. It's very, just, they don't really stick with doing that for WeTech, so they just do a G on there. And then, of course, 35, which will indicate that it's the full auto version, because with the 34, that's just the regular semi-auto without the function of the selector switch. And then you have tactical written in there. Typically it would show Austria for the real steel or a replica of a fully traded one. And then you have the .40, so I think .40 caliber. I don't really know exactly what that one is. But that's something you'll see on the G35. You can also tell that the slide is ported. Again, the reason why they port slides, I don't think it really serves a real function in the airsoft world, but for the real steel, it's pretty much just less weight that the gun has to cycle. Again, it's a full auto edition, so it's going to be going pretty fast. It's like a weight reduction in the slide, so it causes it to move a little bit faster and more efficient. And then As you can tell, being the length of this pistol, you can't really see the recoil guide rod in there because it's just so far back. But if we pull it back just a little bit, you know, you can see it there. So it's pretty much buried in there. You just have to pull it back and then you'll be able to see it. And you can see that this one is also a threaded OEM barrel. It's marked up a little bit because I did remove the orange tip that was in there, but you can definitely thread on an adapter and then a suppressor, which I've actually done as well. It makes it look a lot better. And since there's no recoil rod that gets in the way of the suppressor, you can easily mount one without any issues. But again, wouldn't recommend it because this barrel itself is already pretty long, and you might maybe experience some barrel wear in this top here like usual, and that might affect its performance over time. So wouldn't really recommend it unless you have an attachment that can bear the weight of the suppressor. But again, it's a function. You could take advantage of it if needed. One thing that I noticed different is the slide release. So it has a little notch on here, which I actually find very handy for the Glock pistols. I think the only other Glock I have is my Glock 26 replica that has this type of slide release, and I definitely prefer it because it's definitely easier to work with when it comes to just releasing the slide. It's a lot more comfortable as opposed to the flat one. I don't mind the flat one, I'm used to it too, but again, it's just one of the little things that I would prefer on most of them, just because it would make it a lot easier. So let's go ahead and look into the magazine of this thing. So the G35, the best part about it is if you have other G pistols like the 17 or 18C, the magazine is going to be all the same. So this is your basic G17, G18C magazine that will fit in a G34 or G35. So that's the perk of it right there. It really has no, nothing special to it really, as opposed to any standard WeTech magazine. It's really nothing worth mentioning. Still holds the same amount of BBs, right around 24 to 26 BBs or so. And then it's powered by green gas, and velocity-wise, probably around 330 FPS. Nothing too major with that, but pretty much the basic Glock specs is going to be for the G35 as well. The only real difference from the two is it's just a longer version, and again, what makes it different from a G17 is it comes in full auto. So nothing huge, no major differences there, but again, this is more of just a collector's piece for me because I have not had this edition yet, so I'm very excited, and it's just, I love the way it looks. They did a really great job. One thing you'll notice too, it does not have the traditional bracket sights as most of the Glocks do. It has the kind of like LED, or not LED, like a neon green color for the sights, and instead of brackets it just has the 3 balls here that you can use. One other pistol I have that has the same feature is my G26. They actually share a lot of common traits apparently, with the sights, with the slide release, and so on, and actually the lower frame as well, because my G26 is also Gen 3. But yeah, for the most part, that's what you're going to see with sights. With field stripping, it's pretty basic like any Glock. The way to do it is make sure you rack the slide to lock the hammer system back, and then you have the tabs on both sides which you need to pull down, and then once you have them pulled down, just put your thumb on the back and push until it comes off like so. Then you can go ahead and remove it. You might need to give it just a couple nudges here and there, and you are set. So taking a look at the lower frame, again, it's going to be an exact copy of the G17 and G18C frame. So if I literally took the slide from my G18C, I could put it on right now. And the reason why I say G18C is because based off of this hammer system, it can only take a G18C slide with a selector switch because of the assembly of the hammer set here. Because with this little tab, there's that little metal, like a metal ball in the slide that has to rub across this to engage the hammer. So if you do just a regular G17 slide that doesn't have the selector switch, you're going to find some problems with the gun racking and with it firing. So just to avoid that, don't use the G17 slide on the G35 frame. If you have a G34 frame that doesn't have this assembly, then you can use a G17 slide. I know it's very confusing what I mentioned there, but it's pretty straightforward. You know, I might even do some videos on that. You know, be on the lookout for that, that's for sure. So that's the frame. Also, one thing to cover, the safeties for these are actually on the bottom here. This serial number is actually a safety for the pistol. The way to make sure to use it is you have to make sure the trigger is out, meaning that the hammer is engaged, and then from there you can just press that in and it'll lock the trigger from firing. So it's not really something I use. I really hate that they put the safety there, but you know, they try to, you know, use all options, I guess, for a safety. But anyway, that's the lower frame. So we go to the slide, we take a look. You can see that, you know, the recoil rod to me looks like OEM G17, G18C as well, because again, you can see this blue stopper. This is where the recoil rod ends. It doesn't go out up to here because this is where that dead space is. There's nothing there. The only thing that's considerably different is the outer barrel is much longer, because here's where the outer barrel sticks out, and then you have it going all the way here. So if I put, you know, my thumb to the end here and my thumb to this end, that's how big the outer barrel is going to be. So it's much larger indeed. So again, here's your selector switch. That little ball that I was talking about that has to rub on this metal piece right here on the right corner, this is that little ball right here. So when you turn on your selector switch to full auto, that ball will move just a hair. So that'll engage the full auto, and then when you press the trigger and the gas starts doing its thing, and when the slide racks, it's gonna just engage that little pin over and over, and then that's how you're gonna get your full auto, really. And then we'll just switch that back to semi, and you can see it going back to that segment. When we're looking at the blowback housing and the blowback unit for this pistol, based off of what I can tell, it looks like it's a G17, G18C nozzle. So again, parts are very interchangeable. So if you're curious on, oh, you know, I need to find a G35 blowback nozzle, I mean, just to kind of help you here, you probably just need to find a G17 or G18C nozzle. That'll fit just fine, because I can tell that the blowback unit housing is literally the same exact thing as the G17. So that's definitely awesome, because it makes parts kind of more, you know, easier to come by for replacement. So again, the slide is much larger. I'm just going to do another comparison with my Glock 17. So here's that lined up, and here's how much of a difference in length it is. And you can see the housing again for the blowback, it's identical. So that's the best part. And the outer barrel sits on the same, pretty much, you know, same line as the G17. Again, just the barrel of the G35 is much longer, so there's really nothing that you can mount this slide on. But again, I'm gonna myth bust that, because I'm curious to see if something is possible, because that lower frame, this can go past that. So I'll do some videos on this and kind of, you know, pique my curiosity at that and kind of share with you guys at the same time. The one thing to notice too with a lot of the trademarks on the slide is you're gonna have a big fat thing of electrical tape covering everything. So if you guys did see my unboxing video, which I will try to remember to link it in the video so you guys kind of have an idea of what this thing looks like fresh out of the box, you'll see a huge piece of electrical tape there. So that's something, you know, that any airsoft retailer does that's international, shipping to the US. So something to keep in mind if you get one of these, and, you know, if you're not really, you know, understanding what's there, you're gonna think that they sent you like a blank copy of a G35 with no trademark. So not to worry, that's just their precaution, you know, to make sure nothing gets confiscated. So if we put the gun back together, again, make sure that hammer is locked back. You're going to take your slide, you're going to align the rails on the lower frame and the slide, and then just literally just slide it on over until everything clicks together. Just do like one clean rack to make sure, and we are good. So that's going to be they put together of the G35. And honestly, I mean, I really don't have much more to share with you guys at this time. Really what I'm going to share now is the practicality of it and is it worth buying. So I bought this off of airsoftglobal.com. Price tag was pretty nice, about $100. And then the freight was like maybe $20 or $30, somewhere in that ballpark. So to get it here to the United States, it's going to be somewhere maybe $130, $140 bill that you're going to pretty much be paying. Practicality of it, you know, it's great because it uses a lot of the parts, you know, from a G17 and G18C, like again, the selector switch, the nozzle, the magazine, the lower frame, you know, everything, even the recoil rod, except the only thing is just that outer barrel you can't really use, and the inner barrel might be a little longer too. But for the most part, that gun is probably 80% usable in terms of parts, with a lot of other Glock replicas that are in the WeTech collection. So very cool. And again, full auto, it's practical in that sense. So if you're using a G18C before and, you know, you decommission that one or whatever, you can get this and it'll literally be the best replacement. It has a longer barrel, so a little bit higher FPS. Pretty much off the box, it was saying about 330, whereas the regular ones are like 290, 320 or something in that field. I'm going to chrono these at one point to share with you guys what the specs are for that, but, you know, that's another perk there. I really don't have a lot of like negative things with this. You know, the only negative part is just paying the expensive freight from overseas to get it. Really, that's my only pet peeve with Airsoft Global, but I understand. Airsoft, anything international, it's always going to be expensive. You always got to remember that, because the logistics involved to getting from point A, which is Hong Kong, to point B to United States or wherever country, it takes a lot of different modes of transportation. So, you know, I believe it. So that's kind of understanding on my end. But that's really the negative thing I would say towards this pistol. If you guys think I'm missing something or you have any other questions, you know, leave me a comment in the video, or you can message me through YouTube or Instagram. I can answer some more personal, in-depth questions there. But that's really all I had for you guys. Again, if you like my Glock, you know, videos, I have a whole Glock playlist just completely for Glock anything. So I feel like you guys will definitely enjoy that if you check it out. But that's all I have for you guys. Have a great day.